Good morning, Horn Lake. We are down here in D15 with the sensational Mr. Dupree, okay? The man of knowledge himself. Now, we have some news. We always bring you on when we have some big news. There is a massive story unfolding in the economics headlines that most of these students do not know about, have not looked into, nor do most of them care about. However, it will affect them in some sort of way. It could be have a huge effect on the way you consume media and what you pay for it. Tell us what's going on.
All right, so there's a merger. A merger is when two companies join together. There's ATT and a company called Time Warner. Used to be the major cable provider here in this area. Comcast is now it. But the debate is whether or not they can join forces together. It's an $85 billion value. It's a union of telecommunications. Anyways, the point is it going to be better for the consumer? That's what we always have to look at when we're looking at things like this. Because
now there's three companies right now that are the top three dogs of when it comes to media worldwide. Time Warner is number 3. Comcast is number 2 and Disney is number 1. I'm assuming that AT&T is probably number 4 or 5 because they have acquired DirecTV.
Right.
So they're going to attempt, is that what I'm understanding? They're going to attempt to purchase and gobble up Time Warner, which would probably throw them at number 2 or number 1.
Right. And so basically any way you watch television, it's going to change the prices that people pay for their cable bill and maybe even their phone bill. With DirecTV, Time Warner, and all those under one umbrella, it's going to be a shaky situation. It could be very expensive for people, or it could be very cheap for people, depending on what they do.
Now, the debate is, this brings up the age-old question of monopolies. Tell us a little bit about monopolies, for those of you who don't remember in history class.
All right, real quick. So monopoly is when one company gobbles up another company and it takes over an entire industry. Think if Amazon and Walmart joined together. That would be the only retail company. And the question is not, should monopolies exist? The question is, how do you differentiate between a good business and a bad business? And the real answer is it better for the consumers? Is it better for you and me? If it is, the government gives it the thumbs up, usually. If it's not, they give it the thumbs down and forbid it from happening.
Okay, now, American history really the two villains that everybody thinks of when they think of monopolies are Rockefeller and Carnegie. However, the third that I consider in American history, he's really looked over all the time. He was probably worse than both of those, and that would be J.P. Morgan.
Yes.
Because he really took all of it and made it even bigger. Am I right? He bought Carnegie Steel, didn't he?
He did.
And then he took every other steel company in the world and put them under one roof. What ended up happening when he did that?
He actually, there's a lot of debate over that, but at one time he bailed the federal government out of money. They needed a loan and he loaned the government money.
One guy.
And so if you have Chase credit cards or Citibank, like that's all from him, J.P. Morgan.
Correct. So that's really the start of monopolies. And in American history, what basically happened is people felt like the prices were too high because one entity was controlling them. So at some point, and I believe it started with Rockefeller, the government came in and busted up the oil company. Is that correct?
Sort of. Rockefeller, he got rich. He's actually the wealthiest man in modern history to ever have lived. And he made the price of gas and kerosene very, very cheap. However, if you were opening up your own oil business, you would compete against him. He would come to you and he would say, either let me buy you or I'm going to run you out of business. He'd drop the price, you'd go broke, he'd take your business. He wouldn't steal, but he was a very cutthroat competitor. But at the end of his life, both of these individuals gave most of their money away, which is really unique.
Right. But working conditions under those guys, because they were keeping those prices cheap, I remember they were really bad.
Especially at the steel plant, there was a Homestead Steel strike. People got killed workers got killed for going on strike. So it was
Right.
very controversial.
So there's the history of monopolies.
Yes.
In modern day times, we really worry about these companies having control over entire sections not because we think they want to keep our prices low,
No.
but because they want to shoot the price up. And if we have nowhere else to go get internet, let's face it, we all want internet at our house. Right, Ashanti? Josh? Correct. We got to watch our Netflix. We have to. So we're going to have to pay what we're paying. And most of us are angry because with the 3 or 4 options we have now, we're still paying way more than we should be paying for these services.
Yeah, and your data plan for your phones. I know many of you don't pay cable bills, but your phone bill, you use all that data and then they slow it down. You're at their mercy. You can't go with another provider, really.
What is this deal worth? What are they saying AT&T is offering Time Warner?
$85 billion.
With a B, billion.
Billion.
$85 billion. Now, we also mentioned that there are several other companies looking to make similar lucrative deals, and they're waiting in the sidelines to see what the judge says.
What happens here will happen again, whether it's an okay or a not.
So if the deal goes through, we already know Disney is sitting on the sidelines, and they're waiting to buy up most, not all, but most of 21st Century Fox assets, television shows, movies, all of that content, which they're going to put under their umbrella.
Mickey Mouse is about to make a lot of money.
So, do we know when the decision is going to come down from the judge?
A few weeks. They're in court right now, the Justice Department. But yeah.
Do you have a prediction? Would you care to make a prediction? What happens?
I don't have any prediction. I do know that it will change a lot. That's the only prediction I have. Wait and see.
I'm not scared. I'll make a prediction. I'm going to say that it's probably going to happen. That they have enough money and enough lawyers that they're liable to shove this down the throats. And some people somewhere in Washington are getting paid.
Yeah, and it's politically charged. How is Trump involved with this? Everybody's always debating that, so.
We'll just have to wait and see. So if you haven't been paying attention to the headlines, you might want to start paying attention, because I know that y'all don't want your data plans prices to go up. And it's highly likely that this could affect those plans tremendously. We'll have to wait and see.